YouTube, okay? Oh shit. Okay. What up? What up? What up? What up? Nigga doesn't admit you was wrong about China. There's nothing to talk about, nigga. I probably had to go live earlier. So to it too, man. Oh my god, bro. I'm like actually dead ass. Probably, not probably. Bruh. I don't know if I got food poisoning or what, bruh. I don't know what the fuck happened to my ass, bruh. But somebody cooked my shit. Wrong, nigga. Somebody did my shit crazy. Mm. But now they talking about whoever did that Charlie Kirk crime had a trans girlfriend, bro. I gotta see what Bernie had to say, cuz.
Thank you very much for joining me. I want to say a few words regarding the terrible murder yesterday of Charlie Kirk, someone who I strongly disagreed with on almost every issue, but who was clearly a very smart and effective communicator and organizer, and someone unafraid to get out into the world and engage the public. My condolences go out to his wife and his family. A free and democratic society, which is what America is supposed to be about, depends upon the basic premise that people can speak out, organize, and take part in public life without fear.
My thing is, bro, how much fear. My thing is, how much fear do you think these motherfuckers is spreading right now with the shit they doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much fear do you think is being spread? You know what I'm saying? With kidnapping motherfuckers and shit. Like that's fear, my nigga.
Without worrying that they might be killed, injured, or humiliated for expressing their political views. In fact, that is the essence of what freedom is about and what democracy is about. You have a point of view, that's great. I have a point
This shit ain't no fucking democracy.
of view that is different than yours. That's great. Let's argue it out. We make our case to the American people at the local, state, and federal levels, and we hold free elections in which the people decide what they want. That's called freedom and democracy. And I want as many people
This motherfucker, bro. There's no such thing as democracy under capitalism.
as possible to participate in that process without fear. Freedom and democracy is not about political violence. It is not about a
This empire uses so much fucking political violence to get what it wants, to extract resources. Like, again, liberals reiterating the United States' monopoly on violence is the sickest part about all of this shit.
assassinating public officials. It is not about trying to intimidate people who speak out on
I thought I could be, bruh. I thought I could be more lenient on Twitch than here. I just said some crazy ass shit on
an issue. Political violence, in fact, is political cowardice. It means that
Because I done had an account banned on here before.
you cannot convince people of the correctness of your ideas, and you have to impose
Like
them
hate speech or something.
through force. Every American, no matter what one's political point of view may be, must condemn all forms of political violence and all forms of intimidation. We must welcome and respect.
Don't this nigga arrest niggas at his rallies, bruh? Like, what the fuck?
Dissenting points of view. That's what our Constitution is about. That's what our Bill of Rights is about. That, in fact, is what freedom is about. The murder of Charlie Kirk is part of a disturbing rise in political violence that threatens to hollow out public life and make people afraid of participating. From the January 6, 2021 attack on the United States Capitol, to the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, to the attack on Paul Pelosi, to the attempted kidnapping of Michigan Governor Whitmer, to the murder of Minnesota's Speaker of the House, Melissa Hortman, and her husband, to the arson attack on Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, to the shooting of
bro,
United
like,
Health
everybody be
Executive.
like, so, like, my thing is, since y'all be like, no political violence, right? The United States forfeits all of that shit throughout the way that we tell history as it pertains to things like World War II. You know what I'm saying? Hold up, y'all. Like, the United States teaches about how motherfuckers was superheroes of the day and how motherfuckers went into Europe and saved it from the bad Yahtzees. That's a form of political violence. like, so it's like the whole stance that political violence is never necessary. And it's like, bruh, get the fuck out of here, bruh.
Brian Thompson, and the shooting several years ago of Representative Steve Scalise. This chilling rise in violence has targeted public officials across the political spectrum.
Let's see what motives they talking about.
Set for a memorial for conservative political activist Charlie Kirk. That memorial will be held next Sunday, September 21st at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona.
This nigga finna have a fucking funeral at a fucking stadium? Who the fuck, bro? Whoever shows up to this shit, bro.
That stadium seats over 63,000 people.
If 63,000 niggas show up to this motherfucker's funeral, bro, I'm gonna be like, somebody getting paid, bro. I don't think this nigga has that much pull for some shit like that, bro. But hey, I may be wrong. White people is crazy.
This new information as investigators in Utah still trying to piece together exactly what led up to Kirk's shocking assassination. Officials say the suspect they have in custody is this man, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. More details have surfaced about Robinson's background, but there are still some key questions about what drove him, a scholarship winner from a close-knit suburban family, to that rooftop where he allegedly fatally shot Kirk. CNN's Danny Freeman is joining us now from Utah. Danny, there are still a lot of people who have a lot of questions about how this happened, why this happened, what this man's motive might have been. What are you learning there on the ground in Utah?
That's absolutely right, Jessica. Still so many outstanding questions about 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, the main suspect in this shooting case right here. He currently is in the Utah County Jail. That's about 250 miles northwest of where we are right now in St. George, Utah, where he lived, grew up, where his family lived. And as far as we understand, he's not speaking to authorities at this time. So we've seen investigators here on the ground in St. George really combing over every piece of evidence they can to try and understand what might have driven this young man to, again, commit this shooting allegedly against Charlie Kirk earlier in the week. So let me tell you a little bit about what we do know at this point. Like you noted, Jessica, as far as we understand, he was living a fairly normal life here in St. George in southwest Utah. He was a good student. He was a part of a close-knit family. Utah. He got a merit scholarship specifically to Utah State University. He only ended up attending that university for about a semester. Then he ultimately left. He went on to a technical college. He was working to try and study to be an electrician. And he was very into video games, as we've learned from other people who have known him, who have spoken to CNN, but also pretty quiet as well, and not overtly political unless prompted. In fact, an electrician who actually worked with Robinson not too long ago said to CNN that he wasn't very talkative unless you talk to him first, and that comes with politics as well. Now, this all despite bullet markings that had memes inscripted on them, also some video game language as well. Investigators still searching for a pinpoint moment, a clear moment that they can look at to say this is maybe what drove him to, again, take that drive and go and take that shot at Charlie Kirk. I want you to take a listen, though, to what the governor of Utah told Anderson Cooper last night when asked about the question of how this.
Are you talking about the 5 points? I can get a video to pull it up. Because if I'm not mistaken, he drops the definition in chapter 7. Hold up. Imperialism. Yeah, they can probably gonna blame video games some more shit, bro. All type of dumb shit. I'm not, bro. If this is chapter 7. But like the whole point of imperialism is the highest stage of capitalism. I disagree with, because I'll say it's like actual, like in today's standards, the highest stage of capital is neo-colonialism. You got neo-colonialism, you also have neo-imperialism. So it's like we don't even just have the problem of imperialism anymore. We have neo-imperialism. This is why different frameworks are needed. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like shit like Lenin is good to get a basis off of how imperialism first proliferated, but we have neo-imperialism now. You know what I'm saying? We just don't have imperialism, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like we also have neo-colonialism, which expands upon colonialism. Like you know what I'm saying? They're similar systems, but there are different social contexts that we're existing in that Lenin does not have any answers to. So
possibly could have happened.
That helps. I mean, that could be something.
There's so much we
I got in an argument with a Leninist on Twitter about this shit, and I'm like, bro, Lenin's not some fucking know-all god, bro.
we still don't know, but certainly there was a radicalization that happened in a fairly short amount of time. And again, that's not to. Sometimes when we talk about people getting radicalized, that's to blame others instead of the person. And I don't want to take away that agency. This person.
My thing is, The motherfucker who popped that school up in I forgot. Yes, we have to evolve past Lynn's definition. But I was about to say, like, the dude who did that shit, he was a extremist too. He was a fucking Nick Fuentes. He was like a Nick Fuentes fan. Like, why aren't these content channels getting banned? You know what I'm saying? Why aren't we having a conversation about what the fuck these kids are watching, bro? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we've evolved past imperialism into different scopes and shit now.
And made a terrible decision.
And it's just colonialism to me is just a higher and more egregious stage of capitalism than imperialism, because colonialism is direct occupation.
And we'll pay the price for that.
Now, one thing I'll just note, Jessica, Robinson was a registered voter, I should say is a registered voter, but he's unaffiliated with any party in the area that he is registered to vote down here in Southwest Utah. The other thing I'll note, Jessica, is the big date that we all now have circled on our calendars is this coming Tuesday. That's when formal charges will be filed, and that's when we're expecting to see Robinson make his first court appearance.
Damn, it is the weekend.
And then the following week, as you noted, that memorial that's going to be upcoming for Charlie Kirk in his home.
I keep hearing memorial. So is this nigga not having a funeral? They cremated this nigga? If they cremated this nigga, that's crazy.
State of Arizona. Jessica?
All right, Danny Freeman with the latest from Washington County, Utah. Thank you for that. Let's bring in retired FBI Supervisory Special Agent James Gagliano. James, thank you for being here with us. I really appreciate it. Let's listen to what the Utah governor said about this suspect.
I think maybe what stands out is
this motherfucker racist as fuck. This motherfucker talking, bro. Damn, bro. We wish it was an immigrant. Like, nigga, what? Bro, what? Fuck, it's a white boy.
That nothing stands out the way you would normally expect. This is a good family, a normal childhood, all of those things that you would hope would never lead to something like this, and sadly it did.
I think a lot of people, as we just were talking about with Danny, are searching for answers here, searching for what motivated him to have allegedly done this. What stands out to you as we hear from the governor there of Utah explaining that in this particular case, what is kind of weird is that there was a normal childhood, in his words, that sort of thing.
Yeah, Jessica, I think we're really at an inflection point here. Look, the country is no stranger to political violence. We've had 4 presidents assassinated while they were in office, and even in recent vintage, whether you're speaking about Gabby Giffords or, Justice Kavanaugh, this is not normal, but it's almost expected in the high-ranking official realm. The fact that the target here was an interlocutor, it was somebody that was engaging in debate on a college campus, that's what kind of makes this stand out as slightly different, that we've moved into a different paradigm. Now, having said that, to put a fine point on your question, what are the similarities and where's the incongruity here? And here's the thing. Let's look back at the last 4 or 5 mass shootings. They've all involved, whether it was the attempted assassination of President Trump in Butler, whether it was the attack.
White men? What? She's not going to say white men.
Back in the church in Minneapolis, whether it was the assassination of the CEO, the healthcare CEO in Manhattan. These are all young men. They're all in their early 20s.
The motherfucker's not going to say white, bruh.
They're all millennials. They're disaffected and disconnected. And Jessica, that's the thread between terrorism and
his dad's snitching on him because his dad's a sheriff.
Criminality, and in this instance, a political assassination. It's the thread that you've got to pull on, that these are young people, young men.
He's living out white. Motherfucker, white is fighting to be seen here.
And if you dig a little deeper into that, where do you go from there? Is that being extremely online? And the governor's right. This is not to take away from any choices that somebody made here, but to be extremely online, to have the potential to be radicalized by that.
You certainly do. I mean, the opportunity that we can, pick up our phone. It's a personal computer in our pocket, and we can be anywhere in the world. We can listen to things and see things. There are no borders, and that's a good thing. However, I know that in the past there were discussions about violent video games, and I know.
Oh my God, here we go with the fucking video games. This is the same. This is why they got GTA banned, bro. Nigga, I grew up on GTA, bro, and you'll see me doing none of this shit. Like, all of these arguments they be giving be so fucking ass. Like, it's the video games and shit. Like, bro, it's not the fucking video games, bro.
I know that that's been debunked and knocked.
Hold up, girl. Hold up, girl. Like, bro, that shit is not the fucking thing, bro.
Down that violent video games and the generation that grew up on them, that doesn't necessarily lead to mass shootings. These are people that obviously have mental illnesses, but they obviously have the ability to kind of lack humanity, that they can look at a person, like whether it's Charlie Kirk or President Trump or someone else, they can look at them, see them absent of being a human.
I mean, when motherfuckers do genocide, I mean, shit, you feel me? Like, when motherfuckers just repeatedly do genocide for on end and defend that shit. I mean, like, look at this shit, bro. Like, look at this shit, bro. This what the fuck we, like, this shit don't even look real, bro. Like, I'm gonna be so for real. This shit is laughable, bro.
As the U.S. mourns
I can't take that fucking haircut serious.
loss of conservative legend Charlie Kirk, President Trump is looking back on the lasting legacy that Kirk left with young voters.
Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate.
Like, conservatives believe that shit was good faith debate. Motherfuckers heckling and shit, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's good faith debate to these motherfuckers. These motherfuckers are just crazy, bro.
His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever, to share his love of country and to spread the simple words of common sense.
Our next guest once spoke at a Turning Point event and said Charlie was his mentor, writing in an op-ed, "I cannot bring back his voice, but I can honor him by carrying forward his lessons, fighting for education, and refusing to give up on the mission he built." High school senior Gregory Lykoff joins us now. Gregory, I wish we were speaking under different circumstances. What made Charlie so special?
Yeah, well, if you look at it, he's the only one who truly cared about students my age and really...
Like, bro, what the fuck are we doing, bro? Look at this motherfucker, bro. He got the Israeli pen on his fucking thing, bro. He got he got two Israeli pens, an American flag, bro. He looks like a dorkier version of Harry Potter, if you ask me.
Valued us, whether we can vote or not. He went to those college campuses, he went to those high schools, established Turning Point USA clubs, and he actually got students to finally become engaged. You know, a generation that was once known as the liberal progressive generation turned into the generation that is now a conservative, or hopefully will become a conservative stronghold. And it was all because of Charlie Kirk and his influence on millions of students, including me.
When this horrific tragedy occurred, you wrote me yesterday saying you wanted to come on here and talk about what Charlie Kirk meant to you. So describe for the audience the influence he has had on your life.
Yeah, so let me just tell you a quick story, just personal story of mine. So for 16 years, I had undiagnosed ADHD, and what that meant for me was that as I was a failing student, I couldn't read, I couldn't write, and only last year did I finally get diagnosed, and my entire life changed. I found my interest with politics, and that's when I started listening to people like Charlie Kirk. His show in particular showed me that debate matters, that things that you know, we don't see in our regular political world actually matter. And that's what he shows. Whether you disagree with Charlie Kirk, whether you agree with Charlie Kirk, he would debate you. And even
it's this incessant need to act like debating, like debate is the not antithesis, is the fucking culmination of all things academic. Nigga, this motherfucker was not debating people. He was just spreading white supremacist talking points. Like, not even just white supremacists, one misogynistic ones too, because like this motherfucker dead ass said some shit like unwanted kisses is an essay. This motherfucker was just spreading harmful rhetoric on college campuses. This shit was not good.
Even if he wins, whether he doesn't win the debate, that's not the point. The point is to have a civilized conversation, and that's what we're missing here. And that's what he taught me is the most important aspect of everything. And, you know, there's no other conservative who cares that much about children, about students, as much as he did. Because, to be honest, for many, many decades, students were considered progressives, as I said before. So they were kind of a voting class that was not really needing to be represented, because there would be no students that would be voting for red candidates. Charlie changed that, and with that impact, it's going to last decades.
Let's take a minute to listen to Charlie in his own words over the course of his very influential political career, encouraging young people just like you. Listen to this here.
Our generation and our belief system will be paving the way.
Oh my God. This motherfucker was 31. So he was 21 when this. God damn, bro.
For millennials for decades to come. As soon as you make the decision that I am going to.
Oh, he's been. Oh shit.
Boldly speak my mind courageously, whether I'm with friends or family, or as I am in private and public. That is the most freeing thing we can give our students. I go around universities and have challenging conversations, and because that's what is so important.
If my black ass did what he did. Prove me wrong. I got me a big ass. Do you think I last 5 seconds on the fucking college campus, bruh?
To our country is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
As a young man pursuing a marriage, I just want to ask if you had any advice on how I can pursue and maintain a God-centered marriage.
God must always come first from your spiritual disciplines. Honor the Sabbaths and turn off your phone for 1 day a week. There is a not so silent majority now on college campuses of students that identify with a more conservative libertarian viewpoint. We are packing up these lecture halls. Our chapters are growing at a record rate. How I got my political start, one of my first things of activism is when they doubled the price of cookies at Wheeling High School. I said, this is unconscionable, this is unwarranted, and we need a rebellion. Conservatives are dominating in new media. We're dominating in podcasting, we're dominating on TikTok, we're dominating on social media, because we are a movement that believes in freedom of speech, and that is a...
Or you just have the funds. To like the whole thing of like conservatives and liberals being like, we're taking over social media and shit, bro. Y'all have the money to do shit like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a reason.
Able to have different ideas, but build coalitional type politics.
Another great warrior right here, right, Ivanka? You are a great warrior. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thought he was one of them.
He had so much life, so much drive, so much strength in his convictions, and so much, Gregory, left to give.
So they trying to make this new little nigga the new Charlie. Bro, I swear to God.
Stood out to you?
You know, out of everything, he was always the most humble person. He never took anything for himself. And I think that's what really taught me who I want to be and how I want to represent.
Oh, y'all can't even see his face, cuz. My bad, chat. My shit too big, cuz. Y'all can't even see this motherfucker face, bro. Let me shrink myself. Now y'all can see this nigga.
Myself in front of other people. I want to be as humble, as caring for other people as Charlie Kirk was, because, for example, he didn't have to offer me a spot to speak at a Turning Point USA event. He didn't have to even listen to me take a photo after speaking 15 hours straight on the stage, but he still did. And it's because he truly cares about students like me. He truly cares about our generation, and there's no one else that compares to the amount of care that he has. So really, that's what shocks me, is that we can have such a polarized world right now where someone so caring, even if they disagree with their beliefs, is now dead for no good reason.
10 seconds. How will you carry on his legacy?
I will carry on his legacy by making sure that his education reform is carried on. I think that's very important. I think reform in our K through 12 and upper education.
They throw that reform word around so fucking much, bro. Like, undoubtedly these niggas do, bro. These niggas throw that shit around too fucking much, bro. Fucking hair, bro. Damn, they already came out with a mapping of every. God damn.
On Wednesday, September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk speaks at an event in Orem, Utah. It is at the Sorensen Center courtyard on the campus of Utah Valley
They said Parker was right here. No bullshit, bro. No bullshit. They said Parker was right here.
University. The event, part of his American Comeback Tour, features his signature Prove Me Wrong debate format. Kirk is positioned at a table beneath a large tent. Students come up and have a chance to ask him a question and debate with him. Approximately 20 minutes into his presentation, an audience member identified as a student questions him about mass shootings.
Do you know how many transgender Americans have been mass shooters over the last 10 years?
Too many.
Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm gonna give you some credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Kirk asks a question, but then it gets interrupted.
Counting or not counting gang violence? Great.
Oh my God. Go, run.
When Charlie is 18 years old, he speaks at a college. He just seems like any other young American conservative. But at that college, he catches someone's eye. Will Montgomery sees that Charlie gets attention. While other conservative speakers are boring, young people listen to Charlie Kirk. A month later, in September 2012, he and the 18-year-old launched Turning Point USA.
So this nigga was 18 when he made Turning Point. Oh, nah, bro.
Turning Point USA stands for, what we're trying to do is we're going into the high schools and the colleges to challenge these textbooks that publish flat out falsehoods and fallacies.
It's a nonprofit organization established to promote conservative values, specifically among young Americans through high school and college campuses.
I'm only 19 years old. I'm fighting this fight every single day. I get to go to college campus.
This motherfucker was my age doing this shit. God damn.
This is high schools. I debate professors. I debate socialists.
It's not an immediate success, but Turning Point steadily grows into something larger than Charlie.
We'll probably recruit 4,000 to 5,000 new students, collect their data. It's a high energy conference for us. It's a way to reward our best members that have been.
They organize speeches with ever bigger conservative American thinkers. The young Charlie Kirk quickly becomes a fixture of the American political conservative landscape.
I started an organization, Turning Point USA, 2.5 years ago, around 2 key values: free markets and limited government.
In 2016, he speaks at the Republican National Convention. When Trump secures the Republican nomination, he and Turning Point embrace the MAGA movement. Charlie Kirk gets a direct line to the president. At the same time, he begins using modern media outlets as a way to spread his political message. But they're also a means for generating content that gets attention. He gets millions of views, in large part fueled by debates on college campuses. In 2018 comes Campus Clash,
So this nigga went on tour with Candace Owens, bro. Oh, hell no.
college tour with Candace Owens. In 2024, the You're Being Brainwashed tour, a college tour with former presidential candidate.
Like, what I need people to realize and think is, bro, do y'all think they gonna let leftists do some shit like this? Like, do you understand how much money you have to do shit like this? Thoughts on protesting in UK online. I don't know too much about UK politics, like domestic politics and shit. I'm not gonna lie.
Vivek Ramaswamy. On September 10th, 2025, Kirk initiates the American Comeback Tour, a series of events for college students across the United States. The format includes his classic Prove Me Wrong table sessions, where he invites attendees to debate his political and cultural viewpoints in a public setting. The event at Utah Valley University is designated as the first stop on this tour.
First stop.
Eyewitness accounts describe hearing a loud bang.
Go down and see get closer. Are they like restricting you guys up here or what?
Nah, it's too crowded. It's just there's just so much. Before we had a flag and we had it so it was positioned above the tent so it would be in the camera. They just moved.
What was that?
Oh my God! He just got shot!
Holy shit! Holy
Damn! Everybody scatter like roaches.
Immediately following the sound, Charlie Kirk's head jerks backwards. A significant volume of blood gushes from his neck. Although
They also say there was no exit wound.
an autopsy is yet to be released, speculations state he is hit partially in his jugular and spine. Phone footage shows that audience members react to the noise instinctively, collectively looking to the right and then crouching down. People scatter in multiple directions. His security personnel and multiple police officers cover him and try to bring him away to surrounding vehicles as soon as possible. Through phone recordings later released on Twitter, a figure is identified on the roof of the Losey Center.
So there's somebody on the roof right there? Just saying? He just ran from, over, where's my finger? Whoa. From over there, ran in. And now he's right there. Just saying.
A building located approximately 200 yards or 180 meters from Kirk's position. It seems the shooter is lying in a prone position, shooting down with a clear view of his target. This individual is observed both prior to and following the shot, and is seen retreating from the rooftop. Based on these videos, the shooter is placed at a more accurate guesstimation of 100 to 120 meters from where Kirk is sitting. Presumably, the shooter escapes over the roof of the building after taking the shot. Charlie Kirk is carried to a police vehicle parked just behind the tent where he is speaking from. He's then transported to the local Timpanogos Regional Hospital. Initial reports indicate his condition is critical.
Nigga, there was no fucking critical condition, bro. This is what I need people to get up of, bro. I told niggas this when it happened. This motherfucker was not in critical condition, bro. This motherfucker was dead.
Utah Valley University spokeswoman Ellen Trainor states that a suspect is in custody and it's not a student.
dare you! How dare you! How dare you! How dare you! How dare you!
Political figures begin to issue statements. President Donald Trump posts on Truth Social, calling for prayers for Charlie Kirk. Vice President J.D. Vance also expresses calls for prayer. Utah Governor Spencer Cox condemns the violence, as does California Governor Gavin Newsom and many other prominent political figures. At 2:26 MDT, FBI Director Kash Patel also announces on social media that a suspect in the shooting is in custody.
They straight doc, bro. The most fucked up thing is they dox both suspects, bro, and now them niggas are getting death threats.
We have a person of interest in custody.
But only a couple of hours later, all statements are retracted. Cox clarifies that George Zinn, the individual initially detained, is not the assassin, but has been charged with obstruction of justice. A second suspect is also arrested, but later released. As of right now, the authorities state their investigation continues. At around 2:40 MDT, Charlie Kirk's death is finally confirmed. President Donald Trump announces it on Truth Social. He is survived by his wife, daughter, and son.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk.
Nigga did an AI video, bro. Insanity.
A college campus in Utah.
The cause of death is confirmed as a gunshot wound to the neck. No further suspects have been taken into custody as of September 11th at the time of this upload. President Trump orders all American flags to be lowered to half-staff across the country until Sunday evening as a mark of respect.
Nigga, when I tell you, bro, everywhere I go, bro, because people talking about something, it's because of none of it. I'm like, bro, nah, bro.
We are reminded again of how real the present danger of political shootings is in the United States.
It's a tragic day for our nation. I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination.
For us, on the outside, looking in from Europe, it's a brutal reminder of how politically heated things are in in the country across the ocean.
Like, come on, bro. All right, 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 bro. Niggas on that bullshit. This doesn't happen over in Europe. Like I hate when Europeans do that shit. It pisses me off each and every time, bro.
I'm very angry because you don't get your lick back.
Is this nigga dead ass, bro? Grown ass man, bro. Grown ass man. Oh, this nigga snotting, dog. Somebody get this nigga a tissue. Say it out loud. I'm done, bro. That music just nah, bro. I'm not taking that shit serious, bro. I'm good, bro. Bullshit. Like all this shit, bro. Like, dog. I want to watch this shit. I want to see what they say.
October 7th, 2023. Hamas launches the worst attack Israel has ever faced,
Defensive scheme. Israel knew about it.
resulting in the deaths of over 1,200 Israeli citizens and injuring hundreds more. It's the world's third most fatal terrorist attack in history, with only 9/11 and the 2014 Tikrit attack in Iraq being more deadly. This wasn't a random attack by Hamas, it was a carefully coordinated and orchestrated event, with almost every detail planned down to the minute. And we're going to give you
Man, the IOF Mossad had intelligence.
a minute-by-minute breakdown.
And that's one of the major reasons why Bibi is like highly unpopular within Israel now. It's because he knew the shit was gonna happen for like six months to a year in advance, and just let it happen.
Of how the attack on
Israelis believe and feel like he isn't he isn't what's the word for it? He isn't protective enough of them.
Folded and the chaos it caused in Israel, so you can see exactly how the attack went down. An attack nearly 3 years in the making. December 19th, 2020, Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh declared the start of the first of a series of 4 combat drills that he dubbed Strong Pillar. The drills were planned to deliver a strong message and a sign of unity between Gaza's armed factions, with Hamas essentially forming a coalition with 10 other militant Palestinian groups to take part in a war games style series of activities. They included the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, or PLJ.
So this is another thing people don't understand. Like, it was other Palestinian militant groups there.
Along with the Al-Nasser Salah al-Din and Mujahideen brigades. These groups ran the gamut, as the BBC described, from hardline Islamist to relatively secular, but there was a common through line for all. Each shared a desire and willingness to use deadly force against Israel. The Strong Pillar exercises served as building blocks for a full-scale attack, and Hamas went so far as to create training sites in Gaza, some of which were extensive enough to serve as mock Israeli settlements, allowing its fighters to practice overwhelming buildings and taking hostages. Hamas even released footage of the drills, showing masked commanders huddled in a bunker before a volley of rocket fire ensued. Later, the footage cuts to a group of armed fighters overrunning a tank marked with an Israeli flag, pulling the crew member out to detain him as prisoner, tactics that would come to the fore when Hamas launched its attack in 2023. Hamas wasn't hiding its intentions, it was training in plain sight. September 10th, 2023. Less than a month before the attack on Israel, with Hamas confident it had drilled its fighters enough, it had also created an official command structure to unify its collection of extremist groups, which were now governed by a joint committee. That committee started publishing images to its official Telegram channel. showing men in uniforms surveilling Israeli military installations built along the Gaza border. The world didn't know it at the time, but those videos were yet more clues that Hamas was planning ways to bypass or overrun those military installations. September 12, 2023. Hamas released videos of the fourth and last Strong Pillar military exercise. This time, footage emerged of Hamas fighters riding around in Toyota pickup trucks, many of which would be later spotted roaming around southern Israel in the days leading up to the October 7th attack. There was more footage of fighters raiding buildings and shooting.
Another thing they never talk about is Israel and the occupation and the resistance were engaged in combat all day.
Targets inside. Plus, Hamas showed beach storming training videos involving boats and underwater divers. Another tactic Hamas would use less than a month later had emerged. By this point, Hamas had assembled a small army of 30,000 fighters within the Gaza Strip. It has also now established links with 10 other militia groups from which it could draw several thousand more fighters if needed.
I think age group now, age group has around 75,000.
Hamas was ready, and what follows is a minute-by-minute breakdown of the most devastating terrorist attack to ever take place on Israeli soil. October 7th, 2023, 6:29 a.m. Air raid sirens started to blare in the early morning hours as Hamas unleashed a massive barrage of rockets from within Gaza. Those sirens were heard as far away from the Gaza border as Beersheba and Tel Aviv. Hamas would later claim that it fired 5,000 rockets during this initial attack, though the Israeli Defense Force, or IDF, says the number was likely closer to 2,500. The Al-Qassam Brigades, Hamas's armed wing, began developing rockets in 2001. Initially mocked as fireworks for their short 1.8-mile range, these rockets had evolved significantly by October 7, 2023. The upgraded Qassam-1 now had a 3-mile range with an 11-pound warhead, while Qassam 2 and 3 could reach 7.4 and 10 miles, carrying heavier warheads of 22 and 44 pounds respectively. Hamas also deployed longer-range rockets like the M73, which traveled up to 49 miles but only emitted smoke, and the more potent S-55, J-90 and J-80, capable of reaching Tel Aviv at 59 miles. The R-160 missile, with a 99-mile range, struck deep into Israeli.
And a lot of the rockets that they talk about coming out of Gaza and shit, they aren't very, powerful.
Territory, including Haifa. Within minutes, Israeli settlements near the border with Gaza were shrouded in smoke. People sheltered in buildings as air raid sirens blared and chaos reigned. What nobody knew at the time was that the rockets, as devastating as they would be, were to act as a diversion for what would come next.
They're not really powerful rockets on purpose.
6:30 a.m. IDF observers at the Kisufim outpost identified Hamas terrorists attempting to storm the base's defenses. They activated remote firing systems to subdue the incoming horde, though those systems quickly ran out of ammunition. As all of this was happening, Hamas was coordinating a full assault that saw its militants storming fences in 60 other locations. Other fighters were entering Israel using paragliders, with many more attempting to enter by sea, using the training they'd displayed during the video footage from the 4th Strong Pillar exercise. 6:32 a.m. Inbal Rabin Lieberman was one of the first Israeli security coordinators to recognize what Hamas was attempting. As the security coordinator of kibbutz Nir Am, Rabin Lieberman ordered the opening of the local armory and equipped her security squad with the weapons they'd need to fight back against Hamas. She was one of the very few who did so during these initial minutes. Her decision was made when she heard strange noises near the kibbutz, which is a Hebrew word for a communal settlement such as a farm. She sounded the alert, opened the armory, and prepared 12 members of a quick response force, which included her uncle, to face down the incoming threat. With the force prepared, she began running to houses. While delivering warnings, she also prepared the occupants to launch ambushes against incoming Hamas fighters. Over the next 3 hours, Hamas militants attempted to storm the kibbutz. They failed. By the end of the attack, Nir Am had lost none of its people, while killing 25 invading Hamas fighters. Rabin Lieberman and her brave defense forces, along with the rest of the kibbutz's residents, would later be evacuated to a hotel in Tel Aviv. Their defense of their territory was a success.
I don't know what the fuck that even means. What does that mean?
Even as others fell around them. 6:35 a.m. A Hamas rocket falls in central Israel's Kfar Aviv region, demonstrating just how well developed Hamas's rockets had become since the mocking that surrounded fireworks. This was the first rocket to claim a life. An older resident named Hannah Ben-Artzi became the first casualty among what would later grow to over 1,000. 6:36 a.m. More and more kibbutzim located near the Gaza Strip started reporting infiltration attempts by Hamas. Kisufim was one of the earliest targeted, with terrorists invading to fight against members.
Bro, it's even gonna piss me off keep calling these people terrorists, bro.
of its security squad. Unfortunately, those forces weren't alerted early enough to fight off the invaders. Hamas killed 17 people in the kibbutz, including all of its security squad, and took a man named Shlomo Mansour hostage. Mansour was 85 at the time and believed to be still held captive in Gaza, awaiting rescue or release. As for Kisafim, it was reduced to a wasteland. Hamas's rocket assault had destroyed many of the settlement's buildings before the invaders launched their attack. The kibbutz still bears the scars of the attack and is
Nigga, this shit is still standing, bruh.
yet to be re-inhabited, likely due to its
so fucking dramatic on the damage that's caused.
proximity to the border with Gaza. 6:43 a.m. The first of multiple waves of Hamas forces arrived on Zikim Beach. A small group of terrorists had sailed to the beach in a tiny vessel, successfully evading the Israeli Navy in the process. Many more would soon follow. Other dinghies arrived on the beach in short order, delivering more terrorists, who opened fire on IDF personnel stationed nearby. Zikim Beach would go on to become one of the few victories the IDF could claim during the Hamas attacks. Upon being alerted of the Hamas fighters, Colonel Eitan Patz, who led the Ashdod naval base, ordered his forces to defend the border and some key maritime positions near Gaza Strip. He deployed the 916th Patrol Squadron, which sank 3 of the incoming Hamas boats. Sailors from the Snapier unit, which served as the Zikim Beach security force, were later deployed to use a combination of gunfire and depth charges to neutralize any survivors. Even so, the 300 to 500 defenders of Zikim were still caught unprepared. As more Hamas fighters landed ashore, Israel's security personnel mounted a fierce defense with the limited ammunition they had available. Some were even fighting in their pajamas. Patients were evacuated from the Barzillai hospital. Fighting progressed from the beach into the Zikim kibbutz and its nearby trio of military bases. Hamas killed 19 civilians during this initial fighting, with battles going on to rage for 5 more days until the IDF finally managed to completely clear the area of invading terrorists. At around the same time, the first shots were heard in the Nerim kibbutz as more fighters invaded. 6:45 a.m. Holit is the next kibbutz targeted. Hamas has far more success here than it had in several of the other settlements. Around 40 terrorists stormed Holit, successfully breaching fences to the east and west. It took just minutes for the first home to be overrun. Many of the residents were either asleep or eating breakfast when the raid began, with Hamas militants moving from house to house, shooting at the metal shutters of safe rooms. There was a purpose to this shooting. The shots would reveal if anybody was inside. If the safe rooms were occupied, the militants used grenades and gunfire to breach them before killing the occupants. More grenades were thrown into houses, with Hamas firing indiscriminately on citizens attempting to flee. The terrorists also destroyed vehicles to prevent escape. By the end of the raid, 3 foreign workers and 12 residents, including a member of the kibbutz's security team, were dead. One of those residents was a Holocaust survivor. Hamas also took 7 hostages during the raid. 3 were released on the same day as they were captured, with a further 2 being released as part of a hostage exchange.
The thing is, in Israel, they don't even treat Holocaust survivors well. Like, they call them people with they call them like bad germs or some shit, or people with bad blood.
However, 2 hostages are believed to still be in captivity. It would take around 18 hours for the IDF's Shaldag unit and Paran brigade to clear the militants from Holit. By that point, the damage had already been done. 6:49 a.m. Over the span of 20 minutes, Hamas had depleted its rocket stocks in what came to be known as Operation Al-Aqsa Flood. Mohammed Daif of the Qassam Brigades also officially announced the operation, with this militant wing of Hamas being one of the several that claimed responsibility for the attack. "We announced the start of Operation Al-Aqsa Flood, and we announced the first strike," Daif said in an official statement. He then proclaimed that the strike exceeded 5,000 missiles and shells, with all being targeted at the enemy installations, airports, and fortifications. The full statement also provided reasoning for the strike. Daif accused Israeli forces of escalating
what TikTok doing in my video right now, bro? Like, why are y'all holding it for so fucking long? Like, that's weird to me. Like my Charlie Kirk video, bro. They're still holding my shit. Like a whole day later after I've submitted the appeal and all that shit. Like, it's so fucking weird. It's like motherfuckers aren't even trying to review it. They're just holding any video that is not kissing Charlie's ass under review, and then probably gonna let me get access, because they was like, we'll come up with a decision by September 26th. I'm like, nigga, what?
Raids on Daif's Al-Aqsa Mosque compound, claiming that elderly, young people, and children had been beaten.
My thing about the whole TikTok shit is, how did my shit even pass the initial review, and why was it pushed on the For You page so much?
He claimed that the IDF and Israelis in general attacked and ransacked homes throughout Jerusalem. Daif also pointed toward raids along the West Bank and in Gaza as justification for Hamas's actions. "We've decided to put a stop to all this with God's help, so that the enemy can understand that no more can they sow chaos without being held to account," he proclaimed before officially announcing the Hamas operation. For all intents and purposes, the statement was a clear declaration of war against Israel. Daif called on anyone who could do so to pick up a rifle and prepare to fight. 7 a.m. Sirens blared at the Supernova Sukkot gathering in Raim, prompting hundreds of the music festival's attendees to flee. For many, the warning came too late. As the sirens sounded, Hamas militants arrived on trucks and motorcycles, surrounding hundreds of the festival goers. They opened fire, shooting into the crowd
With Twitch, they doing that shit with Twitch too.
and throwing grenades. Many who had escaped into bomb shelters and the surrounding bushes were also tracked down and shot. It would become the single largest massacre that took place on October 7th. Hamas killed 364 people, most of whom were civilians, as well as taking around 40 hostages from the music festival. 7:40 a.m. By this point, Hamas fighters had successfully
What they won't tell you about that music festival is that music festival was not supposed to like be going on at that time. Like H Group didn't even know they was gonna be there, and it's happening on the border. So like, yeah.
Infiltrated deeper into Israel. Security forces were caught unawares in dozens of locations. The rocket attacks that led so many to run for cover had ended, but their purpose was now clear. They weren't the main strike. The IDF confirmed the rockets were just a cover, albeit a damaging one, for the waves of Palestinian fighters crossing into Israel. Footage also started emerging of the many methods Hamas had used to infiltrate Israel. A video of Zikim Beach highlighted the motorboat carrying the group of 5 Hamas militants that began the storming of that beach. Another video showed a Hamas fighter flying into Israel using a powered parachute. However, the most common tactic by far was to simply attack security barriers separating Gaza and Israel. Months, if not years, of planning had allowed Hamas to identify weak areas in these barriers, with militants using the cover of rockets to break through. Photographs showed Hamas using bulldozers to break down sections of metal fencing. There was even footage of 6 motorcycles carrying militants through a massive hole in a metal barrier. Entire communities had been overrun. Hamas had already killed hundreds and was fighting against security forces. The infiltration was a success. Israel had been caught unawares, though Hamas wouldn't have to wait long before Israel issued a militaristic response. 9:45 a.m. As fighting on the ground continued and Hamas penetrated deeper into Israel, the IDF mobilized its air force. It also released an official statement saying, "Dozens of IDF fighter jets are currently engaging several targets belonging to the Hamas terrorist organization in the Gaza Strip." As Hamas militants clashed with people on the ground, hundreds of citizens in eastern Gaza were fleeing their homes to avoid Israeli bombs. Photographs later emerged showing the results of these airstrikes. Vast plumes of smoke rose over Gaza, with several of the city's buildings shown to have been reduced to rubble. Citizens were also shown attempting to evacuate on foot carrying bags, and in some cases children. The picture served as a potent reminder that many within Gaza were just as unaware of Hamas's intentions as Israel, just normal people attempting to survive a situation that was beyond their control. 10 a.m. Hamas continued to penetrate military bases and local settlements. The IDF released a statement confirming the militants had gotten inside at least 3 of Israel's military bases near the frontier with Gaza. The Zikim base was mentioned, showing that Hamas's waterborne infiltration efforts had achieved some measure of success. The militants were also inside the Gaza division headquarters stationed in Raim and had overrun the Bayit Hanun border crossing. Hamas also issued another call to arms. Its deputy chief, Salah al-Aruri, released a statement directed at fighters in the West Bank. "We must all fight this battle," he proclaimed, "especially the resistance fighters in the West Bank." The statement ran at odds with the later photographs that showed hundreds of Gaza and West Bank residents attempting to evacuate. Still, Hamas was enjoying some success. More videos emerged, including one that seemed to show Hamas fighters running toward a watchtower in an Israeli military facility as buildings around them burned. Some militants were already back in Gaza celebrating their success. Several Israeli vehicles were captured and paraded through the streets. Details also began to emerge from Sderot. The region had been one of the many that absorbed Hamas's early morning rocket attacks, and as was seen in many kibbutzim and municipalities, the rocket attacks were quickly followed by an invasion of ground forces. Hamas militants entered the kibbutz and engaged in firefights with local police and civilians. The militants were successful. They overpowered the local police garrison, occupying it while killing 30 people in the process. News also emerged of another terrible massacre conducted by Hamas. On the morning of October 7th, a Tor minibus began a journey from Negev to the Dead Sea. Along the way, it stopped off in Ofakim and Netivot to pick up passengers before traveling to Sderot. It would never leave the municipality. The tour bus picked up a flat tire at the entrance to Sderot. A warning siren sounded as the operators attempted to fix the tire. The bus's occupants, many of whom were elderly, with some being Holocaust survivors, got out and attempted to enter a shelter. The doors wouldn't open. In moments, a pair of vans loaded with Hamas militants arrived at the entrance to Sderot. They identified the tour bus and its passengers as Israeli and opened fire from point-blank range, killing the entire group. It's rumored that the terrorists even fired again after killing their targets to ensure they were dead. During the chaos, the bus driver had managed to escape along with a woman. Lying behind a guardrail, they were discovered by the Hamas militants who promptly shot them. The woman died, though the bus driver survived by playing dead until help arrived. All told, the massacre cost 15 elderly Israeli citizens their lives. It also showed that Daif's grand statements of targeting military installations in Israel were false. Yes, Hamas were attacking military bases, but it was also killing indiscriminately, targeting regular citizens just as readily as it was fighting against the IDF and other security forces. Similar raids were also confirmed to have taken place in Be'eri and Ofakim, with the latter being 20 miles east of Gaza. More deaths and hostage-taking followed. By this point, many Israeli citizens living in the south of the country had taken to fortifying their homes in the hope they could serve as makeshift panic rooms and bomb shelters. The IDF was broadcasting messages via radio, telling these citizens that "we will reach you," as they huddled together and hoped that Hamas fighters wouldn't find them. 1:30 p.m. By the afternoon, Israel's main police chief, Yaakov Shabtai, had confirmed that security forces and incoming IDF soldiers were engaging Hamas gunmen in 21 different locations. The surprise element of the attack was over, but fighting continued, with the military confirming at 1:30 that it was actively engaged in clearing the communities Hamas had overrun. News of the death tolls started to emerge. Israel's media reported that at least 100 people, including security officers and civilians, had been killed in the Hamas raids. A further 800 were wounded, with untold numbers having been taken hostage. These claims will be backed by Hamas circulating photographs and videos on social media platforms, supposedly showing dead on both sides of the fighting. It was also at this point that Israel's foreign ministry claimed that Hamas was going from house to house shooting civilians, confirming that the attack focused on more than military targets. As the hours ticked by, more news of death, injury, and hostage-taking had emerged. The initial 100 dead rose, eventually reaching the 1,200 mark mentioned at the beginning of the video. 5 p.m. By early evening, Hamas had attacked 22 locations outside the Gaza Strip, penetrating up to 20 miles into Israeli territory on the ground. Its rockets had traveled much further. PBS reports that the death toll was up to 200 by 5 o'clock, with 1,100 people being wounded. The IDF's aerial barrages in the Gaza Strip were also taking their toll. Almost 200 people, not all of them militants, lay dead in Gaza, with 1,610 believed to be wounded, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu took to television to announce a declaration of war against Hamas. In an address to all of Israel, he said that the country was at war. Not an operation, not a round, but a war, he emphasized. He claimed that the enemy would pay an unprecedented price for his actions. It's notable that Netanyahu didn't identify Hamas directly with this statement. His declaration was made against the whole of Palestine, rather than the militant sects that occupied the country. He concluded by warning that Israel would return fire of a magnitude that the enemy has not known. As we know now, Netanyahu was intent on following through on that threat. 7 p.m. Fighting continued to rage. The IDF was now mobilized and entering many of the 22 settlements Hamas had attempted to overrun. Fighting was ongoing, with the IDF claiming that it faced a force of hundreds of Palestinian infiltrators spread across Israel's southern regions. Slowly but surely, the IDF was pushing those militants back, killing many while forcing many more back toward the border with Gaza. At the same time, Israel continued its aerial attacks in Gaza, while Hamas fired more rockets into southern Israel. A war had started. The IDF began to mobilize in the days following Hamas's attack, but the process was surprisingly slow, with Israel's military taking 3 days to reach the border with Gaza. In some places, the IDF fought Hamas militants for several days after reaching that border before finally clearing them out. Limited Hamas rocket attacks also took place, though these weren't smokescreens for more incursions. Hezbollah also launched attacks on Israel on October 8th, supposedly showing solidarity with Hamas despite the two groups having ideological differences. Hamas had achieved its objective. Over 1,000 Israelis were dead, with thousands more injured, and several hundred having been taken hostage. Why was the IDF so slow to respond? It could be due to the nature of the Hamas attack. Israel would have had multiple plans in place for a mobilization against Gaza. Under normal circumstances, IDF generals would have selected one of those plans to execute. with units receiving initial orders and traveling to the border within hours. The problem for Israel was the possibility that its plans had been compromised. The IDF feared that Hamas had infiltrated to the point where its spies had obtained its battle plans. Those plans had to be treated as though they were compromised, forcing the IDF to develop a new strategy before it could fully mobilize. It's also important to remember that many of Israel's forward operating bases near Gaza were either under attack or overrun. Hamas had planned its strikes extremely well. First responders, both military and civilian, were surprised and killed, slowing the IDF's response. Still, by October 10th, the IDF was fully mobilized and ready to cross the border into Gaza. At the time of the creation of this video, war has continued to rage between Israel and Hamas for a full year, with the war extending to several other countries in that time.
Genocide. Genocide. That's the proper name. This shit was the most lame ass shit I ever seen, bro.
And our world is filled with evil.
Like, do you know how evil you gotta be to not even see your own evil anymore?
But our God, you guys, our God is so good.
And then it's like the Christianity shit, bro. Like, bro.
Speaking publicly for the first time since
Your husband just got smoked in 4K.
the assassination of her husband, Erica Kirk stood last night by the very desk where the Turning Point USA founder would record his show, referring to him as a martyr.
The evildoers.
Niggas is cheering on kidnappings of children and separation of families, bro. And we want to talk about evil, bro.
Responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done.
Ooh, like,
You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife.
ooh, like, what the fuck are you gonna do, bro?
The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
With crowds gathered outside, Kirk promised to press on with the nationwide college tour, along with the Charlie Kirk radio program and podcast.
The movement my husband built will not die. It won't.
He didn't build shit. He didn't build shit, bro. Like, objectively, the nigga didn't build shit. He just spread the same shit.
I refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it.
Sharing her grief, she posted these images by her late husband's casket. Amid the mourning, she posted these.
Like, this whole little thing was weird, bro. Like, when she posted his, like, body and shit, like, that was weird. It's just like, bro, I don't feel like saying that shit. A, and B, it's like, he ain't even been cold for 4 days, bro. And this is what we doing?
These images by her late husband's casket. Amid the mourning, authorities in Utah deepening their investigation into Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old they believe fired the single fatal shot at Utah Valley University, killing Kirk. NBC News obtaining 911 calls through a public records request, capturing the chaos that followed.
The Kirk speaker, you just got shot in the head. And what happened? He's a speaker, famous guy, Speaker Kirk. Where he just got shot in the middle of his speech. I'm in the parking lot. Everybody's running.
Authorities believe this video shows Rob.
Bro, that shit is crazy, dog. But it's like, my whole thing, that's one, like, when people was like, I feel so bad for his wife. I'm like, do y'all not understand that his wife, is more than likely just as racist, if not more racist than him? Like, what the fuck? Let's watch this shit.
God is great.
God is good. Let us thank Him for our food. Bow our heads. We are fed. Thank you, Lord, our daily bread. Amen. So you said you did the mile in the 7 minutes and 50 seconds?
55.
That's slower, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta push it. You don't want to have nothing left in the tank when you're done. Give it all you got. I remember when you brought home your first pocket constitution and said, what form of government do we have in the United States of America? So we have a constitutional democracy. You know what form of government we really have?
Here we go again.
We have a constitutional republic.
We have a dictatorship of billionaires.
Power comes from the people in the United States of America. And it's the voice of the people, it's the will of the people. Our position is the people need to take point. Take a good look.
My thing is, okay, another thing people didn't find weird. People didn't find weird the whole white dudes for Harris shit that Dean Parker and them was on.
At the face of the militia and the 3% movement.
So we got the 5%ers and these motherfuckers got 3%ers. So Confederate flag, wow. So like when leftists be like, we need gun reform, bro, the far right is training and arming themselves as we speak, bro. What the hell do y'all want us to fight back with? Please tell me. Like every leftist who's anti-gun, please tell me. Or anti-wanting leftists to arm themselves. Please tell me.
These are patriots that are not going to have their rights infringed upon, and our way of life will be preserved and maintained. So help us God. Guns up!
I don't want nobody taking my gun rights away from me. I don't want nobody taking my freedom of speech from me. You know, so I'll die for that. Hell yeah.
This is where the administrative part of the operation takes place. So I put on my sidearm when I leave to go to work each morning, and I keep it on my side until I get home at night. Yeah, so I am definitely pro-constitutional carry and pro-Second Amendment, and nothing in the world is going to change that. So I am General Holy War of George Security Force 3%. There are several different chapters throughout the country. The media will paint militia groups as anti-government. And it's not anti-government, it's anti-tyrannical government. I mean, initially I'd say, fuck yeah, I'm all right. I mean, all right to me would be a conservative, maybe a white or black Christian conservative that has
what is blood talking about at this point? I heard black. What are you talking about?
Convictions about upholding and defending the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And if there's one thing that we can't have in the United States of America, it's a disarmed populace. I got to be prepared to move quick if I get some information that says there's a martial law, there's a nuclear attack, there's a chemical or biological situation. I'm getting prepared for anything short of a nuclear bomb landing on my forehead and killing me. I want to survive it. And if it's done by a hostile force, I'm going to kill as many bastards as I can before they get me and move on without remorse. Most people look at militiamen and 3%ers as being uneducated, southern, redneck types. You know, it's quite offensive, really. I mean, we're talking about a group of people who come from all walks of life. They're professionals, they're teachers, businessmen, they're engineers, electricians.
Yes. Where's Chris at this morning?
Where's Chris at this morning? Is that a nigga, bro? Is this a nigga, bro? Is this a black person? Bro, get your ass up out of here, bro.
So if we want to go ahead and start some breakfast, go help yourself.
Like far right motherfuckers and shit, they always make some undercooked ass shit, bro.
You're welcome. Eggs and bacon over there, sir. Eggs and bacon over there, sir, ready, so.
Waiting on everybody to get up and get rolling out of bed, which most everybody is already. Some of us have had breakfast and we're preparing for the day. We'll start the training just shortly. As soon as blood agent gets out of the rack, we'll go from there.
We went into quick cooking mode. Is General up yet or moving? I haven't seen him yet this morning, so.
The 3% movement has been around for.
And the feds be in plain sight too.
The 3% movement has been around for quite a number of years, but I took a personal interest in the 3% movement following the election of Barack Hussein Obama. And after witnessing different things taking place in government, after witnessing and learning about things taking place.
Thing is, Obama made these niggas' lives better, but they'll never accept it just because he's black.
Place across the planet that caused me concern for my individual safety. So I began looking out to other people to help me and to help each other build a network to provide mutual assistance if that should ever be needed.
We got new scopes on our rifles. We can't wait to try out. Yeah, see how they work. I realized about a year ago that I was not prepared and I did not feel safe when I was out and about in my own hometown with my 12-year-old. So I began the journey to get my concealed weapons permit, have my husband teach me about firearms safety. And once I got that legal, then I looked for a group of like minds and we're sticking together. And, you know, we're defensive. I mean, that is our first posture. We are not here to start anything, but we are here to defend and protect our families first, my loved ones, anybody that you see wearing a uniform and their family, the dogs that we bring. That is why I'm here.
So the 3% movement, it's a prevailing belief that has root and foundation in the Revolutionary War, and the belief that a small group of motivated people and Minutemen, patriots, can defend themselves from tyranny. Yes, sir, I consider myself a Christian. I believe that most of the people in Georgia Security Force 3% would identify as Christian. Our laws were based on Judeo-Christian beliefs. The Bible tells us that there's a fight for good and evil right here on planet Earth. And my views on the religious beliefs of Christians in comparison to Islam, I think that their belief systems are in stark contradiction. In Christianity, I don't think I've never heard of a situation where people are commanded to convert non-Christians at knife point or gun point. But I think Islam is terroristic in nature, and it's good and evil, and that's what it basically comes down to, is good and evil. The Southern Poverty Law Center, they've put us on their hate map, which is total bullshit. But if you bring up an argument that they don't like, you're just a racist, and it's freaking nonsensical.
I'm finna just be over it, bro. I'm finna just be over it, bro. I'm over it, kid. Bro, what the fuck? So this shit copyrighted. Oh my god! I'm finna lose it. I'm finna lose it, bro. 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 I don't even know if, like, wait. This is not like a fucking what's that shit called? My Wi-Fi ain't go out. It said I was doing fucking copyrighted material, so they blocked my shit. I'm trying to see if if it does not come back on, I swear to God I'm going to sleep. Not sleep, but I'm legitimately finna just go get something to eat. It still wanna. Okay, I'm finna go get something to eat, bro. I ain't finna be playing with these niggas, bro.